Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, a brutal conflict in the West African nation of Cameroon results in the rape and sexual assault of hundreds of women and girls. Also, why do women bear the responsibility of contraception, and why is the medical and scientific community seemingly reluctant to research options for men? And the amazing tale of India's Bandit queen who went on to become a women's rights activist and a politician. But first, it's a forgotten conflict that's resulted in more than 4,000 deaths and displaced some 700,000 people. Bloody clashes in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon and West Africa have rapidly morphed into a war. And sexual assault and rape are becoming weapons against women in the Anglophone community, the UN documenting more than 2,500 cases in the last 5 years. Our team on the ground meet two victims and the organisation now helping them to rebuild their lives.
This 13-year-old girl no longer talks. She became mute the day she was raped. 3 years ago, separatist fighters attacked her village in Cameroon's northwest region, causing panic among residents. While many managed to escape, she couldn't. Following the incident, she's been living in this house in a remote area of Yaoundé. Her aunt who took her in spoke to us on the condition of anonymity.
When the devil did what they did to my niece, from there things changed. She does not socialize with anybody. She's always in the closet.
Cameroon's English-speaking regions have been plagued by an armed separatist conflict for 5 years now, and stories like these are not uncommon. In another neighborhood in Yaoundé, this 26-year-old mother was raped at gunpoint. 5 years ago, heavily armed men raped her in a forest in the northwest region where she had sought refuge after an attack. She now has 4-year-old twin girls born from the rape.
When I gave birth to my twins, I was sick. Since that day, things have not been going very well. People insult me anyhow. To look for a job, to do anything has not been easy.
Forgiveness is one of the few NGOs in the capital, helping these rape victims heal from their trauma.
Please sit down.
The founder, Franca Mai, offers psychosocial support. Today, she's helping one victim regain faith in life. The NGO has supported nearly 1,000 victims of the Anglophone crisis since 2018.
We talk to them. We try to know what they need, what is blocking them from taking the next stage of their life. And we try to advise them and coach them to transform the pain of conflict into purpose.
Since the eruption of the crisis, over 2,500 cases of rape and sexual assault have been recorded in Cameroon's English-speaking regions, according to the United Nations.
Now, women have long been left to bear the responsibility of contraception, but an increasing number of young men say they would be willing to do their bit. And yet, male contraception remains a taboo, with the medical and scientific communities reluctant to pursue research or offer existing options to male patients, as our team report.
If anything is unclear, don't hesitate to ask. We're here to help.
These men are taking their contraception into their own hands with the help of some sewing machines. That's the aim of this workshop organized by a collective called Garcon.
I wanted to stop endorsing the hormone-based contraception system that women are subjected to. It's something I really don't think is good for women's bodies. That's why I decided to do something else.
That something else in this case is making your own testicle heating underwear. It's a simple principle. If the temperature of the testicles rises from 34 to 36 degrees Celsius, the production of sperm plummets. Men are no longer fertile when they reach less than 1 million gametes per deciliter of sperm. The special undergarment holds the testicles close to the body, thus warming them with body heat.
You have to tailor them to each person's individual measurements.
I'm making my first one today, so I need everyone's help.
Thomas, on the other hand, isn't new to this. Before coming here, he first tried the hormonal method.
It's a deep intramuscular injection in the buttocks, so it's not very practical if you have to do it yourself. You need to get the product, then inject it on the same day each week with the help of a health professional. That's why I started using the thermal method instead.
But this method also has its drawbacks. It takes 3 months to work with the underwear worn 15 hours a day. Its effectiveness can be verified with a spermogram, a laboratory analysis that counts the number of sperm in the testicles.
So it isn't uncomfortable for the testicles.
No, it really isn't.
What I like is that we can share information. You can find out how it's going for the others. If it's normal to have such and such feeling or discomfort, we can reassure each other that we're wearing it the right way and swap tips.
It's an essential support network to make up for the lack of support from the medical world.
When doctors decide to help, it will be much easier to get spermograms and make sure the results are properly read. At the moment, organizations lack the means to respond to all the demand, and so the medical community really has to inform itself on the subject.
What a few doctors in France do offer, however, are vasectomies, an operation that involves cutting the vas deferens to block the sperm from getting through. 5 times as many Frenchmen nowadays are having it compared to 10 years ago. Pierre-Loïc is one of them.
I wanted to have a vasectomy because I had 2 children and I didn't want any more. So I was looking for a 100% reliable form of contraception. In terms of permanent contraception, there's vasectomy or having your tubes tied, but the latter is very painful. It's an invasive operation. You have to take 2 weeks off work.
This method of permanent contraception remains rare in France. 20% of British men have undergone the procedure compared to just 1% of French men. For Pierre-Loïc, it's a step toward greater equality.
Yes, the vasectomy is feminist. I realize that the fact that so few men do it is because many don't want to carry the mental load of contraception. The pill helped bring about the sexual revolution in the 1960s. I think the vasectomy must be a second sexual revolution, so that women are finally free to do what they want.
Stéphane Jourdain and Guillaume Dourdin spent 2 years investigating male contraception. Their first question was why a male pill was still not on the market. The first reason is medical. When a man swallows testosterone, the liver destroys the molecule that could block the production of sperm. But social and political obstacles are what's preventing this medical challenge from being resolved.
Pharmaceutical companies aren't motivated because they can't see a market for it, because men simply aren't interested, and there's never been any political impetus from either side.
The authors believe that the available methods are so rarely used due to entrenched resistance in men's mindsets.
You get the feeling that there are centuries, millennia of patriarchy behind it. Men seem to be willing to rethink the way that they seduce women. But when it comes to contraception, the reaction is absolutely not. Don't touch my testicles. They don't want to hear about all that. That's why we called it the last taboo.
It's a taboo also rooted in false beliefs. Neither the erection nor the libido are in fact affected by these non-hormonal methods.
And finally, the tale of India's bandit queen. Poolan Devi was a female Robin Hood and a fighter. After a tumultuous upbringing, as a politician, she continued to stand up to the patriarchy and the country's caste system. Emerald Maxwell takes a look at an extraordinary life that ended way too soon.
Born in India into the poorest of the poor and derided from an early age, she was a born rebel who became a gang leader, the Bandit Queen. Number 1 enemy of the state, but idolised by the downtrodden, Poolan Devi was eventually voted into parliament, where she became the voice of the oppressed.
They call me a criminal, but I am not the criminal.
Born in 1963 to a low-caste family in a poor village in northern India, she was sold into a forced marriage at the age of 11, where she was subject to daily physical and sexual abuse. After working up the courage to flee her torturer, she became an outcast in her country.
The village forbade her from collecting water from the well. They considered her a prostitute. She was branded for life because she had left her husband, which was a real taboo.
Regarded as a pariah and exiled from her village, Pulan became the leader of a band of brigands. Later, she would lead them back to the village to take revenge on the upper caste men who'd gang raped her. Once there, they rounded up and killed 22 men.
Once she got past her lust for revenge, she understood that weapons allowed her to reap justice in her own way. She became a real Robin Hood. She demanded ransoms and stole from the rich to give to the poor.
So was born her fight against inequality. But wanted by police across the country, Pulan gave herself up in 1983. Charged with 49 crimes, she was never convicted, but nonetheless spent 11 years in prison. Once freed, her desire to fight for the oppressed was stronger than ever. This time she did it legally and stood for parliament.
All young people will have a job, whatever background they're from.
Campaigning across her native region, she was lauded by the lower castes and former untouchables.
Before her, no one ever did anything for us. There are no roads, no water, nothing.
Pulan Devi was elected as an MP in 1996 and began passing laws for India's most disadvantaged.
I still have the faces of my oppressors in my head. You think I'd allow them now to exploit my people, the low castes, the poor, the untouchables?
In the end, Pulan Devi was assassinated in 2001. Her voice was silenced, but her fight has become legendary.
And that's it for now. You can also connect with us via our Facebook page, that of course being France24.51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. So until our next show, bye for now.